All right, welcome to John Brown's Rod Reviews. This is going to be a series where engineering meets angling. I've been fishing for about 20 years. By no means am I a professional bass fisher or anything like that. But every time that I've gone to buy a rod, I've looked, I've picked up the rod and it said something like this: medium, medium. I want to know about the sensitivity, so I pick it up and I do something like this. That's served me pretty well over the years. I've been fortunate to do a lot of fishing and catch a lot of fish, but I want to dig a little bit deeper. So if you do too, this series might be for you. But we're gonna take a data-driven approach to putting numbers to the power, the action, and the sensitivity of the rod. We're gonna do this with spinning rods, casting rods, maybe even some fly rods in any price range from budget to high end, and even some vintage rods. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned.
Yeah, so let's talk about your options when you go to buy a rod. You're always going to see the power and the action. You're going to try and feel for sensitivity, and that's really all that you get. You get five metrics, whether it's slow or heavy, or the standards that they go by. And so the power of a rod is really how much it can deflect, how much it can bend, the load that it can bear. When you're fighting a big fish, and so Dr. Bill Hanneman was a PhD chemist, and he developed this method called the common sense method. It was essentially tying a bag to the end of the rod and filling it with pennies, hence the sense there. And whenever it would deflect one third the length of the rod, so here the rod length is L, and I've got it deflecting one third of that length. The power was defined by how many pennies it took to do that. So moving on to the action is the response of the rod tip. So whenever you are fighting a fish or whenever there's a bite, how fast it springs back, and that's really depicted by the composite nature of the rod. What kind of stack up the manufacturer does with the carbon fiber and all the fiberglass composites and whatnot. It's all proprietary typically, and that's what you buy when you're buying a high dollar rod. And so what Dr. Hammond also did was just put a protractor on the end of the rod and then classify that angle. And so that handles your action here. Perhaps the most talked about, metric is sensitivity, and it's hard to quantify. They've come up with a few different ways. Dr. Hanneman also came up with what I'm drawing here. You bend the rod down and let it go, and it's going to bounce up and down, back and forth. It's going to oscillate and give you a curve that kind of looks like that until it settles out. And this is called the natural frequency method. It's good for characterizing about that area of or that length of the rod. It doesn't necessarily tell you what you feel at the reel seat, which is what we're looking for. And so what if we put a weight here that was 10% of the total pennies and drop it? It's gonna, give some kind of pulse, and then you're gonna feel that here at the reel seat. So if we put an accelerometer on the reel seat, then we would be able to tell what you're actually feeling at the reel seat. You'd get a pulse like this, and then it would settle out.
All right. Hope that was interesting for everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Next time we'll have a real rod up here. But tight lines, take it easy. See you next time.